So, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to our live launch of CAPsule 2020, the online showcase for this year's graduating HND Contemporary Art Practice group. Okay, we have a variety of speakers and works to show you. We're going to, of course, show you the student work via the website that Jennie has constructed. We're also going to have guest speakers. We're going to have guest performers. We're going to have screenings by CAP alumni. And to round us off this evening, we're going to have a performance from Falaraki, the post-punk pop duo from the nether regions of central Scotland, who are going to delight us with some wonderful tracks, aren't you, Lewis? Give us a thumbs up, Lewis. Yeah, of course you are. Before we carry on, I'd like to just make one slight disclaimer and make it clear that we are broadcasting before the watershed. However, if this was the BBC, we would probably be made to broadcast after the watershed, because some of the content that we will be screening this evening may not be appropriate for younger viewers. But our youngest viewer, I think, will cope. Our youngest viewer being sat on Paula's knee at the moment. Okay, so please be aware that some of the content in tonight's broadcast may not be appropriate for all ages or temperaments, indeed. So I would like to just say a few words about this year's group and about CAP in general. My colleagues are going to speak, and we've got a couple of other guests as well, who've sent us some recorded messages that we'll play as well. But the circumstances under which we are broadcasting and putting on this event will be covered by more than one speaker, I think. So I'm not going to say too much about that. What I'm going to say is that it's been an enormous pleasure to work with everybody over the last 2 years, and it's been an enormous pleasure to see everybody grow as artists and as people. And every year I generally make a short speech at the opening, and I used to write them down, and I'd stumble right through them, and sometimes I'd get emotional and start crying a wee bit, which is a bit embarrassing. And being very dyslexic, it didn't help. So now I just make it up. And what I mean by that is I don't mean I'm lying. I'm not just making up what I'm saying. I'm not lying to you. It comes genuinely from the heart, and it comes from all of us, that you're all fantastic, wonderful artists, and you're going to go off and do fantastic, wonderful things, just like our alumni who've joined us tonight and come back to share with us what they've done. And you're now officially part of the CAP alumni, the CAP community, which grows every year, of course. And at the start of lockdown, we started the large Facebook community for all ex-CAPers. And we hope that you'll all continue to be members of that, and that you'll continue to share what you do and come along to what we do and feed back in to the community. Continue to develop that community and share what you're doing. I'm starting to ramble, I can feel it. So, talking of that community, I probably will say some other gushy things at some point. But I'm going to move to our first speaker, and talking about CAP community. Our first speaker is Benjamin Fallon, who's going to officially open the show. And Ben has been part of the CAP and previously public art community for quite some time. And I'll cover that as I read to you briefly. Okay, so I'm going to introduce Ben by reading something. Ben's currently based in Glasgow and has got there via Edinburgh, Korea, Belgium and Sweden. Ben graduated from the then Edinburgh Telford College in 2003, and he was part of the first HND group that I ever taught. From there, he went straight into practice as an artist and curator, and has developed his practice as a writer, designer, and educator. Indeed, he's been a lecturer with us, covering for absent lecturers, and continues to do visiting and guest lecturing for us to this day. He's curated exhibitions, events, and publications locally within the Edinburgh Sculpture Workshop, the Embassy Gallery, where he was a member of the committee that relaunched the gallery in 2009. And he's also worked internationally and works internationally. He's very recently, in fact, just yesterday, completed a significant design project for the University of Gothenburg's online research publication, Parse, which he has also guest edited. And that's part of the Faculty of Applied Performing Arts at the University of Gothenburg in Sweden. So that's a little bit of context about Ben, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome Ben and to unmute Ben, because I need to do that, to get that right. I've got a list of buttons I need to press and when I need to press them. Okay. And hopefully that's going to work. So I'm going to hand you over to Ben and say, welcome, Ben. Thank you.
I mean, Alan's already covered some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about, but I'll repeat it. And you'll be pleased to know it won't be too long. So hopefully the evening can kind of move on. So first of all, I wanted to thank Alan, Jennie and Colette for the invitation to come and speak here today. I mean, I graduated from the HND in public art, and I'm not sure about this. I thought it was somewhere between 15 and 16 years ago. I have a bad habit of kind of just using the internet as kind of my second brain to remember when things happened, but some things don't actually get archived. So we're not sure. Well, but Alan says 2003, definitely.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So kind of moving on. For those that don't know, the HND in public art was the predecessor to contemporary art practice. And since being invited to kind of give this talk, I've been thinking about it in relationship to how our public space is becoming increasingly contested at this moment through a set of kind of entwined crises. So everything which is happening. I mean, I don't think I need to kind of name it necessarily. And so, I mean, it's whether we're thinking about the simple fact that we aren't able to join together in public spaces as we would normally at an opening like this, or the kind of the struggles around how our histories are made visible through monuments. And kind of, so when I started the course, it was much more about these kind of making these objects, which are maybe kind of more monumental, that would sit in kind of public spaces. But over the period of studying, and I kind of took 3 years rather than 2 years to complete my HND for a number of reasons, it kind of developed into something that was, I guess, questioning what the idea of the public might be. And I think that this influence of kind of being public art rather than like, you know, a kind of a reified kind of gallery art still informs kind of the contemporary art practice, HND. After graduating, I didn't go to art school. Instead, I kind of developed my own practice as an artist, and took a studio at the Edinburgh Sculpture Workshop, which of course, in normal times, we would have been there tonight. And this is where I first met Jennie. We shared a studio for quite a while, actually, which was very nice. And there I kind of started to get involved in the programming, organising exhibitions and public programmes, as well as kind of organising exhibitions in my own house. And through this, I realized I was kind of more interested in working with artworks and artists rather than necessarily making them myself. And from there, I've developed a career in curating and writing, and been very fortunate to be able to spend time and develop projects around Europe, India, and Korea. And I genuinely don't think any of this would have been possible without the critical basis that I picked up on the public art programme. It's been a pleasure to watch the course develop over the years, and to be allowed to play a small part in it, occasionally dropping into it to do talks, visits with students, or helping out with previous end of year shows at ESW again. Through this, I've met many people who are now very dear friends, and many who I just bump into and have a shared affinity. And it's been fascinating for me to see the wide array of roles that people end up kind of inhabiting from this point. And so, I mean, there's a fair number of kind of artists and curators around Scotland and kind of wider, but then there's carers and bakers as well. I always feel there's something special about the course and its ability to develop a sense of community, stretching well beyond the kind of immediate year group that you find yourself in. And I think this will maybe become apparent going forward to the kind of graduating class. I've always kind of been impressed by the ability that the course has had in kind of being able to keep up with technology, initially kind of embedding blogging in a way that the kind of the more prestigious art schools would never really think about. And it's that kind of spirit that means we're here tonight, just kind of using the tools at hand and kind of making things work. Sometimes they don't fully work, but you know. And so, I mean, I find it more exciting potentially than a lot of pre-recorded videos of people kind of. And I'm kind of looking forward tonight to seeing the exhibition and also seeing the kind of alumni, because having two small children, I don't get to see enough stuff as I'd like to. So it's nice to have a kind of a reason to do something. And so it's a funny time to graduate, as we are all very aware. There are big questions as to what sort of world we will be living in over the next few years, 10 years, who knows? And I think it could be easy to see art as a potentially kind of frivolous activity in the face of the challenges we may face. But I think it will become increasingly important as a way to think through problems and situate ourselves in a kind of increasingly complex world. And so kind of finally to the graduating class, I understand that it's a shame that we're not all in a room together tonight, but I'm sure that this experience will be one that kind of stands you in good stead as you move on with your careers and lives, and you'll kind of look back on it and kind of understand that you've learned a lot from it, hopefully, or maybe just that you hated it. And so I guess I'd like to just finally say I look forward to hopefully in the next not too distant future kind of being together in a room and looking at some of the work that we see tonight.
Thanks, Ben. That's really great, and really, it's really wonderful to hear people talking about how CAP HND has had an impact and the kind of tentacles of what we do kind of reach out and reach across the country and kind of start to filter into so many different aspects of what people are doing and encounter, and not just the art world, but increasingly in the catering world as well. We'll maybe come back to that. So thanks very much, and we look forward to continue to have you come in and do talks, do the screenings, a bit of teaching, and continue to contribute as fabulously as you do. So thanks again.
Thank you.
I'm gonna
try something.
I'm going to pass over to Jennie now, who's going to introduce the website and talk to some of the contributors to the website. Okay. Jennie.
Hi, can I just try something? Hold on a second, folks, actually. Okay, perfect timing. That's a parcel coming to my front door. Thanks, Ben, and thanks, Alan. Hello, everyone. My name is Jennie Temple, as Alan's just said, and I'm one of the lecturers on the CAP course. I would also like to extend a big welcome to everyone who's made it along this evening. And of course, a massive congratulations to our CAP 2020 graduates for successfully completing the course under such extraordinary circumstances. It is my job this evening to introduce our exhibition and each of our graduates' work, and I will summarise some of the themes that have interested them and that have influenced their work along the way. Normally, we wouldn't do such intimate guided tours of the show, so another first for us this evening. And I'm not sure I'm the best person to be doing that guided tour, but we'll see how it goes. Okay. So the work on this exhibition site predominantly comes from a few projects that our students made before we went into lockdown. The second year of the CAP course is structured with a couple of given thematic briefs, a self-generated brief, and what we call a graded unit. Normally the exhibition is made up of the final project work of the year, which is the graded unit. This is also the most independent project of the year and of the course, sort of what we've been working up to. The final opportunity to play to strengths, demonstrate what has been learned, and to produce exhibition works. However, because of our unexpected interruption to the graded unit this year, it didn't take place, and the exhibited works come from those projects that I've just mentioned. Thankfully, this year's graduates had already produced very strong work, and we are able to demonstrate and share that with you this evening. There are a range of works, as you will see, reflecting the multidisciplinary nature of the course, and you may also notice connections, which will be because, as I mentioned, there are works here that have come from given thematic briefs. One of our themes this year was body, and you will probably pick up the thread of connection in relation to this subject through a number of works. However, I'm also sure that you will notice that our graduates' approaches are incredibly individual and unique, a trait that we certainly encourage. The website is a summary of this last year and an important document to mark the completion of the course, and we think the most appropriate way to mark the completion of the course at this time. However, we also want to say that this is not instead of, but rather until we can. Alan, Colette and I will keep you informed of future developments and in the flesh opportunities to see our 2020 graduates work. So enough from me, and we'll start our evening by looking at our first three graduates' work. And I think some of our artists will contribute. A lot of people are feeling a bit shy tonight, and I can totally understand why. It's a bit nerve-wracking. But please do chip in if you suddenly feel like you want to say anything. I should also say that everything that I am going to say has been adapted directly from the words of our students, what they've said about their own work. And I've put their voice into the third person. So I'm going to take you to the website in a minute, but I just wanted to practice something. Alan and I had a conversation earlier on, and bear with me, the students will know exactly where this comes from and my awkwardness around clapping, and in particular, the issue around clapping with Zoom. So I just want to give Ben a little round of applause, if that's okay, and I want to see if this works. You can give me a thumbs up if you can hear my clapping. Okay, so that's our clapping for this evening, guys, which was giving me a great deal of anxiety, but I think we're sorted. Okay, so shut up, Jennie, and I am going to share our exhibition with you. How's that? Can everyone see this? Yeah? Okay. So this is the exhibition that we've set up for our students, and this is our homepage. And when you come into the website, you'll be able to click on individual graduates' work, and that's all I'm going to do this evening. I'm going to start with Annie Donaldson. I'm going to try and move slowly through the website because I know that if I start jumping around it, you'll get travel sickness quite quickly. So I'm going to leave it here while I read something about Annie's work. Okay. So as I said, unfortunately, Annie cannot be with us this evening as she is working. Annie's doing a really important job just now, like so many other people, and she's working in care. And I think what she's doing is incredible. So she's really balancing life and work. And unfortunately, yeah, can't be here. These are a range of Annie's works. Annie pays incredible attention to detail and works comfortably across a range of media. This year, Annie has explored themes of maternity, fertility, memory, and I'm just going to nip down to this next block of images, and has responded often to organic forms. Annie enjoys approaching her practice in a playful way and often responds to literature. So big well done to Annie, and we'll do a communal round of applause at the end of our 3 artists' work. Okay, so let me see. Back. And our next exhibitor is Fraser Morrice. If I just click here, and I'm going to hover on Fraser's work for a minute, and then we're going to watch one of Fraser's films. So this year, Fraser's work has predominantly focused on themes of identity, both historical and in the digital age, and specifically concerning queer culture. Fraser's research examines the individual as a political subject and the disruption of societal mechanisms of homogenization. These themes guide the formal aspects of a multimedia approach, often resulting in sculptural or digital form. And I'm just going to link to one of Fraser's films, which is a couple of minutes long, and hopefully we can go full screen. Okay, thank you, Fraser, and well done. Can everyone hear me okay again? Yeah. Okay, and we're going to go to see Nicole's work now. And Nicole's the last in this group of 3. And okay, so Nicole Webberley. Nicole's work is multidisciplinary, and this year she has made work using sculpture, drawing, sound, photography and performance. I think in particular the work that we are looking at just now helps identify the important role that our artists and residents have. I think I'm right in saying that this work evolved alongside working with Samantha Dick, and I wonder in a minute if Nicole might want to say a couple of things about that, and maybe if Sam would like to say something as well. Before we do speak to Nicole and Sam, I just want to go down to some more of Nicole's work, working with sound, a silent project about sound, and it demonstrates exactly the amount of media that Nicole has been using this year. So installation, drawing, and photography. Okay, so I'm just going to stop sharing for a minute, and I just wanted to speak to Nicole for a second, and Alan might want to come in here actually as well, because we were going to talk about a little bit about the gallery programme that we have, and which has really been instigated by Alan and a core group. But Nicole, I know you've been fundamental in the Hubcap gallery. I'm just looking for you now, and I found you. Can you unmute yourself, or?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, how have you found that experience?
Hubcap.
Yeah. Maybe you
Amazing.
can explain what Hubcap is to anyone who doesn't know.
So Hubcap is the CAP year 1 and 2's kind of in-house gallery. We've tried to keep it kind of separate from CAP, but it's run by CAP students and Alan, of course. There's 3 of us here, no, 4. Me, Alex, Rachel, and Astrid. We're all a part of Hubcap as well, and then there's 3 more from year 1 that help along with it. But yeah, very good.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you. Hubcap have their own social media pages. Hello? I heard something. Sorry. Hubcap have their own social media pages, and those links can be found on the CAP page. I'm going to hand back to Alan just now, who's going to introduce our first guest this evening. But before we do that, I'm just going to give our first 3 graduating artists a huge round of applause. Oh. Over to you, Alan.
Okay, great. Thanks very much, Jenny. I'm just going to close a window here, and I am going to open this one. And I'm going to thank you for that, and to our first 3 graduates for the letting us see their work. I'm going to introduce our first performance, first live performance now. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce Megan Rudden, who is going to, I can see on the screen there. Megan is an artist currently based in Glasgow. She graduated from CAP in 2016, and her work moves across performance, writing, drawing, and object making. She has performed and exhibited at various locations across the UK, including Edinburgh, Glasgow, Manchester, and recently at the back of a car park in Dundee. She's currently studying on the MLit Art Writing course at Glasgow School of Art. The performance that Megan is doing considers alternative ways to connect with the material process. And I think, Megan, would you prefer to, hang on, I will ask to unmute. Can you unmute?
Yep, perfect.
Would you like to speak a little bit about your performance, or would you like to go straight into it and we can maybe have a chat after?
Yeah, I'll go straight into it and we can have a chat after.
Wonderful.
Okay.
So, thank you very much, Megan.
I am standing on the sand in the middle of Aberdeenshire, several miles from any beach. And every release of breath casts a cool cloud of solidified water in front of my face, even though it is the middle of summer. I'm wearing clothes made of thick material, heat resistant and protective, additional thick skins hanging heavy over my small limbs. Vacant holes resembling bits of bodies, elbow and breast shaped cavities, encrusted and encapsulated in ceramic shell solid skins wait to be filled, hoping they won't crack under the extreme pressure. A vessel is only useful if it can carry the load spat or filled or spilled into it. But if liquid seeps out the sides through too thin skin or cracks in the surface, it is no longer fit for purpose, it is unwanted. Each mould hopes to hold together and not give way under the extreme pressure of molten metal nearing the temperature at the centre of the earth, sweat on foreheads. Condensation exhaled from tense mouths cools in clouds of solidified spit. Cupped hands, held out in anticipation of liquid to be poured into their palms, only for it to fall through my fingers spilling onto the sand. But there's no use crying over spilt milk unless it's your mother's. I am standing on the sand in the middle of Aberdeenshire, several miles from any beach, and I'm wearing clothes that are several sizes too big, and it is the middle of summer, and I'm thinking about yesterday when we swam in a river at the bottom of a hill, and my body felt more free, but the water was freezing on my skin, and you could see your breath in the air, even though it was the middle of summer. When I was betrayed yet again by the size of myself as I was pulled, not this time by gravity, but by the current, rushing current pulling sideways across stony mattresses that weren't. A riverbed is not for lying, unless you wish to surrender your appearance to viscous imagination and the possibility of being pulled against your will and in the wrong direction. You can see that hill from where I'm standing now on the sand in the middle of Aberdeenshire, several miles from any beach. This particular hill in the Highlands of Scotland was known for looking like a breast. The story goes that any man who managed to reach the summit of the hill would place a large rock on its peak, adding to the pile, creating an erect nipple in the skyline. The collective effort of enthusiastic adventurers to scale her body. The peak was obviously not peaky enough. Cupped hands, held out in anticipation of liquid to be poured into their palms, only for it to fall through my fingers, spilling onto the sand. An upturned elbow, the peak of a hill, a mass of molten metal, a microscopic atom that is carried through veins, blood bleeds red, rust spilled from split skin. I tried to catch it in my hands, but because of these bleeding palms, it slips through my fingers and onto the sand. Down to the sphere of iron at the centre of the earth, it is the same. My heart beats faster, struggling to compensate for lack of oxygen. Is it adrenaline or anemia? Red blood cells, anemic arteries. A crucible is a vessel, is a womb, is a woman, is a man. A capsized cup becomes a hill regardless of whether it is filled. Each one imitating the other, only one is made out of metal. A process of loss, of casting, copying, changing, each one further removed from truth, but each one hoping to return to it. Poured in and out of cavities, gaps become shapes. Liquid fills negative space, anticipating solidification. A cup, not for drinking from, but for holding in. If molten iron touches your body, it begins to instantly boil the moisture on the surface of your skin. I am standing on the sand in the middle of Aberdeenshire, several miles from any beach, and every release of breath casts a cool cloud of solidified spit in front of my face, even though it is the middle of summer and my body is heavy, and I'm wondering, why is she always lying down? Flat on her back, demure clouds give accent to her silhouette. Yet perhaps it never occurred to us in our upright anthropocentric position that it is us who are the wrong way up. Perhaps she laughs subtle earthquakes at the thought of legs glued upside down and sideways, pulled by forces she created. But still, why is she always lying down? Is it for sleep or sex? Did she collapse quite literally under the weight of the world, or was she pushed, forced flat on her back by the hand of one who thinks he is more powerful than her mass? The same hand that scrapes and excavates her skin, fingernails digging into her thighs as he digs down, mining and endlessly extracting. Cupped hands, held out in anticipation of liquid to be poured into their palms, only for it to fall through my fingers, spilling onto the sand, where it solidifies instantly. A crucible is a vessel, is a womb, is a woman, is a man. A capsized cup becomes a hill, regardless of whether it is filled, not for drinking from, but for holding in. If molten iron touches your body, it begins to instantly boil the moisture on the surface of your skin. My heart beats faster. Trying to compensate for lack of oxygen, is it adrenaline or anemia? Beads of sweat gather on foreheads. Patience wears thin. The furnace is lit. The ritual begins. In absolute anticipation of the event, I'm standing in front of its almost pregnant, almost fit to burst already, almost pregnant belly. As the heat rises hotter and hotter, the sound is almost intolerable. It is screaming with each contraction, as the solid iron thrown into its stomach is melting hotter and hotter until it cannot hold anymore. The plug is released, and a rush of molten orange liquid ejaculates from its narrow passage into the crucible, waiting in excruciating anticipation below. Now things must move quickly. The time between conception and birth of the object is short, crucial, vital. There is no room for mistakes. Poured from the crucible with steady hand, each mold is filled to bursting, and sometimes molten metal overflows, landing beside my feet on the sand, spilled. But there's no use crying over spilt milk unless it's your mother's. Her waters break. Water breaks on jagged rocks. Cupped hands reach below the surface, splashing on noses and cheekbones that echo the same shape. Slowly and deliberately, she cultivates the landscape of his face, running transparent hands over and over solid and still skin that offers little resistance. Now it is him that lies paralyzed, overwhelmed by her strength, immobilized by his own weight. Stony mattresses deter thoughts of sleep and wet dreams, she warns. A riverbed is not for lying, unless you wish to surrender your appearance to viscous imagination and the possibility of being pulled against your will and in the wrong direction. In red contrast to the raging noise of the furnace, we now move in calm and silent dance through the anticipation that hangs heavy and thick in the air, like the breath I can see in front of my face, even though it is the middle of summer, where I'm standing on the sand in the middle of Aberdeenshire, several miles from any beach. Each mould hopes to hold together and not give way under the extreme pressure of molten metal nearing the temperature at the centre of the earth. Cupped hands, held out in anticipation of liquid to be poured into their pans, only for it to fall through my fingers, spilling onto the sand. There's no use crying over spilt milk unless it's your mother's. My heart beats faster. Trying to compensate for lack of oxygen, is it adrenaline or anemia? Beads of sweat gather on foreheads. Patience wears thin. The furnace is lit. The ritual begins.
Thanks, Megan. That was absolutely wonderful. Yeah, I mean, well, a silent clap maybe from everybody. I speak properly to you. I mean, it's such an evocative performance, and the way that you articulate through the words the material that you're talking about, and I think that's a really crucial part of what you're doing, and that's clearly your intention. And at a time like this, when we don't have access to material as artists, and I'm looking at the objects in front of you, which are clearly produced using the processes that you so viscerally described. Could you tell us a bit more about how you went about constructing the performance and the intention behind it?
Yeah, these were objects that I made in the place that I was talking about. They're all cast parts of my body in iron. So I suppose this was like a process I was hoping to engage with more this year, but obviously because of the circumstances, that couldn't happen. So I've been doing a lot of writing recently, and was kind of trying to consider how you can like write into these materials and keep that kind of like visceral experience of making through the writing, and like kind of in trying to recreate it, creating something else that can maybe be like passed on to others in a different way, that if they make them feel like they were there or something too. So yeah, just kind of like centered around the idea of the material iron and all its bodily connotations and its connotations, particularly with like the female reproductive system, and then thinking about these kind of like shapes that I'd made and the landscape of the place that I'd made it in, trying to like write back to remembering being there. And I also, part of the performance, there's like small bits of it that I actually wrote on the site, so kind of trying to like take myself back to that place and bring to the present. So yeah.
I think it really evokes, it's very evocative of the location and the material, and a real lesson for us, I think, to be thinking about how we make work in the current circumstances, particularly if we are interested materially rather than purely conceptually. So thank you very much for that. I wonder if I could impose on you to ask a couple of other questions, just very briefly. One being, as a CAP alumni, how you feel kind of CAP maybe helped or kind of gave you a kind of grounding for where you are now.
Yeah, well, massive. Like, it completely changed how I think about art, but also just kind of like how I view the world in whole. And I think like I'm now kind of going back to like a lot of the stuff that I learned on the course, because it was very like making do with what was around you and things that were to hand, and yeah, thinking through ideas. Yeah, it completely like opened my mind to a lot of things, and it's had like a big impact on the way that I work now, definitely.
Right.
And also like the people that I met on the course, like I'm still friends with, in regular contact with, and they're kind of like lifelong friends. So like there's definitely that kind of sense of community, and like things like this are bringing us back together. So like it feels like an ongoing thing, which is really great. What was that? Sorry.
Oh, I think Jenny's
is it stuck?
Well, that's not too permanent. Another question. Give us a little time to hope that Jenny comes back to us. Would you have any kind of message to pass on to the current students?
Can you
about to head off into the world?
I'll come out and I'll come back in.
Sorry, can you say that again? I think I can hear
I'm on
Jenny.
page 3. It's
right. I've muted Jenny.
Right. Okay. Right, we'll try and let you back. Right, I'll try and let you back in. Okay, bye.
Okay. Sorry, Megan. Did you hear my question?
Sorry, no, can you say that again?
I was just wondering if you had a kind of a message to pass on, a bit of worldly advice for our new graduates.
Well, I don't know if I've got any good advice. Just like keep doing stuff. I think one of the most important things is like just having people around you, and like that's kind of what CAP like really sets up, and kind of like hold on to that and like keep that going. But yeah, I don't know, just keep doing stuff. It'll be fine.
Great, Megan, thank you. We're having a slight technical issue. Jenny has had to come out. Oh, here she comes, she's back. Hopefully that's working. So I also have the facility to give you a massive round of applause, Megan.
Thanks.
I hope you could hear that.
Yeah.
So, Jenny, are you back? Please tell me you're back.
She's there, but I can't hear her.
Let's unmute. No, that was the wrong Jenny.
Hi, folks. Sorry about that. Everyone froze, but obviously it was me that froze. Megan, I'm sorry for interrupting your chat just then. Chris said that everyone could hear me, so I apologise for that. That was really beautiful performance. Thank you. And Alan mentioned before about how he sometimes gets emotional when he's reading stuff, and now I'm going to read something feeling quite emotional after that. It was beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay, so we are now ready to go into looking at our second group of works, and I am just going to share a screen. Alan, when you give me the rights to share the screen, because I think I'm no longer co-host.
Oh, right. Sorry, I shall make you co-host.
That's all right.
Just take me
I think we're doing okay, all things considered.
Well, we haven't been slagged off in the...
Don't ask for that. Like, that's just, you know, don't encourage that.
So far, everybody's been very kind and polite on the chat and YouTube. And I'm just going to very quickly take a moment to just encourage anybody who's on YouTube watching, please feel free to leave a comment in the comments box, but also to like, and I'm saying this for Ben. Ben knows why I'm saying this. Please like and subscribe and share. Little in joke with Ben.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, Jenny, I'll hand you straight back.
Okay, so first in our next group of three, we have Alexandra Murray, who I know as Alex, and I've always called Alex, so hope, Alex, you don't mind that. Alexandra is such a beautiful name. It must be your Sunday name. So Alex describes her work as, at first glance, heavily reliant on formal visual elements found within nature. Alex uses these forms to convey concepts, primarily themes of distortion, the effects of time and absence, and as a link throughout her work, because it has been the main environment throughout her life. So lots of reference to natural form, lots of close detail, and this is a range of work from throughout the year. And if I just scroll down slowly, you'll be able to see another detail of a project that Alex made that stemmed from looking very closely at poppy heads. And this is an installation of work. I should mention that all of the students have links to contact them directly, but also to go and see more of the work. And I know that Alex has a film of this piece on her YouTube channel, which is really worth going to see. So that's Alex. Well done, Alex. I'm just going to close you. And then I'm going to go into Kerry and see Kerry. Kerry's not here this evening. So we'll just wish her well in her absence. Kerry, similarly to Alex, often takes inspiration from her own environment and finds comfort working in this way. Kerry, I'm just going to click through them because I don't think that's working. Kerry describes pattern as a particularly strong driving force within her work, and she approaches drawing often with an abstract approach. Kerry has a strong interest in urban forms, so her environment important but quite different from Alex's. And through close observation, she draws out and gravitates towards formal elements, seeking balance, repetition, and visual rhythm. So well done, Kerry. And I'm going to link to her film. I'm not going to play it all because it's long, but I'm going to play you a minute of Kerry's film, and then we're going to move on to look at our Okay, I'm just going to pause that there. Well done to Kerry as well. And we are now going to look at Sakke Ronkonharju's work. And I apologise, Sakke, if I've not got your pronunciation quite right. I've tried my best. Okay, so Sakke is with us this evening, but I can't see you, Sakke. Sakke and Paula are together, but I know that you're there. So Sakke has taken environmental challenges and political injustices. These have been key themes throughout Sakke's studies. Sakke recognises that there's an increasing need to keep raising awareness towards the destructive ways of our ever-increasing consumerist economies that demand so much from our planet and its inhabitants. I'm just going to scroll down a little bit. Sakke's wish is to empower people and to not judge. We are all the same people wherever we go, and we all share this beautiful earth together. Harmony before harm, love before hate, unity before division. We need to correct the balance in our lives and learn the art of listening. So sage words from Sakke. And well done, Sakke, thank you. I'm just going to stop sharing and I'm going to give everyone on our last block a little round of applause. And a massive well done. Oh, get carried away with the applause. I'm going to hand back to Alan and then I'll see you again in a minute for our next group. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny. I'm just going to put that on. Okay, thanks, Jenny. Just before I move on to the next segment, I've got a message coming from someone everybody in the Zoom will certainly recognise. But before I do that, I'd just like to very briefly draw attention to the fact that obviously we are not in the gallery and we're not in the studio and we haven't been in the studio for quite some time. But I don't know if anybody's noticed, but if anybody that's aware of the Zoom meetings that I've been having with students and colleagues over the last 3 months, I've been very cautious not to show my house. And I've had a screen up. And it's mainly because the camera's normally in a different position and you can see right up the room, and it's often the girls are working and the children aren't that keen to be on telly, as it were. But we've changed the orientation today in tribute to the studio, and we've tried to bring some familiarity to tonight's proceedings for all the graduates in the form of spider plants and books and some Stirling board, specially imported just for you, and 1 or 2 artifacts that some of the audience might remember. There's quite a number of CAP students' work floating about. Some people might spot their own. So this is our little tribute to the studio, and I hope it brings some warmth to you all. Anyway, talking of warmth, I'm going to share my screen with you and share a message from someone you'll all recognise.
Congratulations, everybody, for making it to the end of your course and overcoming what could only be one of the most challenging and difficult years that any of us have actually ever experienced. I know you must be as disappointed as we are, the staff, that you couldn't get to exhibit your work in the normal way, but having looked at some of the work that you've been uploading and sending in, the website that you've been making, and the kind of stories that we can see by looking at this work, not only of your ideas, but about what you care about, and where you're going to go and study or travel over the next few years, we can only be inspired on your resilience, your creativity, and your focus on what's important in life and how that can actually make a difference, which I think is something that we all need to keep right at the forefront of our minds, that being creative at a time like this is an asset that is desired by many, and that you clearly have and is showcased in this wonderful presentation. So congratulations to you all. Thanks to both you and the staff. It's much appreciated. And I wish you big success for the future. Well done.
Okay, so that was our curriculum manager for fine art and design, Neil Manning, for anybody who didn't know. And a really heartfelt message from Neil to you all. Yeah, heartfelt message from Neil. I'm suddenly stumped for words. Anyway, it's because I can see our next contributor front and centre, right in the middle of my screen at the moment. So our next contributor is our current artist in residence, Charlene Serrano, and I'm going to try and put on speaker view, and also, no, I'm going to ask Charlene to unmute. So Charlene, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Can you hear me? Is that all good? Does it sound good?
You can see you. It's wonderful to see you.
Hi.
And of course, we haven't seen enough of you.
Sadly.
So Charlene is our current artist in residence. For anybody who doesn't know, we started an artist in residence programme probably 10 years ago now, somewhere around that, and we have had 2 artists in residence every year. So we must be getting close to 20 artists in residence. And Charlene has been our latest. And really sadly, Charlene started at the start of February as our artist in residence, and then had the rug completely pulled out from underneath her, and has found herself in lockdown and hasn't been able to kind of take advantage of the situation. And we haven't been able to take advantage of Charlene.
Never thought I'd heard that before. About.
But we are delighted to let people know that you're coming back.
Spoiler.
Charlene's coming back. We're not going to let her off that lately.
Can't get rid of me.
But Charlene, you have contributed. Oh, Jennie, can we have some of that? Has contributed regardless of being in lockdown by being the first hubcap Instagram artist in residence, and you did a week of posting on the hubcap Instagram page and also doing projects with people over Instagram. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I was approached by Hubcap, which was a very lovely experience because it was just nice for them to think of me, obviously, because the situation is not the best. So I was approached by them to be involved in their first takeover, and I was more than happy to kind of get into it. Obviously, because it means I gave myself a chance to kind of do the residency in some light, but also for the fact that I was also in my own little rut, and the situation's not the best, as everyone can see, but it was just nice to have an opportunity to kind of get creative again and kind of have a chance to be motivated, which was lovely for me. So yeah, it was just a really good experience, and I just knew that I really wanted to base it around being people, getting connected with people and getting them involved, which is what really inspired my approach to the takeover. So for people who don't know, it's basically I did a couple of projects where I asked people to submit little works that I curated into kind of a bigger, larger piece. So it was an opportunity for me to kind of get in contact with people, and especially during the time where everyone just felt so isolated, and I just felt like it was important to do that. And it was such a beautiful experience for me personally. I thought it was great. Like, it was kind of selfish of me. Like, I just loved getting everyone involved. I just loved it. I loved giving. It was the first time I've done something like that in my practice, because a lot of the works that I tend to do have been very secluded in their kind of context. So to kind of approach it in more of a way to inspire people to make works that maybe they themselves have not really thought about making, that was just great. It was so good.
Well, it was an absolute pleasure to watch over the week and to contribute in a small way. We managed to make a little bit of work, or contribute to a little bit of something towards your work, and it was a real pleasure to start kind of lockdown in a way by being creative.
Yeah.
And talking of which, you have made a new work for us tonight.
I have.
I'm absolutely delighted you've made it, and I've watched it already. I think it's a really lovely piece and a really interesting approach that you've taken with this kind of fragmented approach to the kind of ripping, but the quietness of it as well. So I'm going to screen that in a second, but I didn't introduce you properly.
That's fine. I'm not offended. It's okay.
I'm going to do a bit better now by saying that to the audience that Shireen's a multimedia artist working in film and moving image, and that you graduated from CAP in 2014.
Yes.
I went to study the Sculpture and Environmental course at Glasgow School of Art, where you graduated in 2017. That's all correct, isn't it?
Yes. I had to look that up because I forgot, but yeah, that's correct.
So, okay, I'm going to share the screen now, and we're going to have the pleasure of watching your latest work. Charlene, that was lovely. Thank you very much. It was really beautiful piece. You are muted again. So let me see.
Told you it was bad at this. Can you hear me now?
There's too many things to do.
Okay.
So yeah, really beautiful piece, and I'm definitely interested to speak to you about how you made it when we get.
That was a challenge. I'm not gonna lie.
You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so recently I've not, since the Hubcap takeover, I haven't been too proactive with being creative, but I'm not trying to kind of be down on myself because the current situation is obviously unique. So I'm just giving myself some time. So I've been doing a lot of like collaging works, like physically, like in my studio, and it's been very fun and therapeutic, and it's been very kind of going back to like a formal way of just making work. And when you approached me about this opportunity to make some work for this, I thought that it would be really interesting to kind of take that back into my video format and see if I can make it happen the way it is in my head. So it was very instinctive. It was very much like try not to overthink it. Let's just be experimental and do it. And it was also an opportunity for me to try a new technique in my work, which I've not done, which is not to spoil anything, but some green screen work, and I never did that before. So yeah, and it just kind of happened. It was very playful, very much like how I approached physical collage and watching the same thing. So that's how I approached it. And the footage that you see was just the footage that I had in my hard drive. That was not. I collect footage quite a lot and never actually use it. So I thought it was a really good opportunity to kind of do with that the way I usually would do with like physical collaging, if that makes sense. So it was just a bit of playfulness, learning something new, which was nice. Yeah.
Great. I think it's another, we talked about Megan earlier on and kind of having to deal with kind of how to work with material without working with material and using words, things like that. And there's something really lovely about you kind of working on your tabletop in a way and collage and using the technology and the footage that you've got to hand. I think we're already, I don't know, I'm sure Jennie and Colette are probably thinking like I am at the moment, is that we're starting to get ideas for how we're going to cope going forward with work and having students make work and things like that. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Jennie, I'm going to pass back to you now.
Thank you. Hi again, everyone. We're just going to go straight to look at some more work. We're going to start with Jackie. Jackie? Where's Jackie? Oh, hi, Jackie. Are you wanting to speak about your work, or are you wanting me to speak about your work? I'll speak about Jackie's work. Okay. So can you hear me okay? I'm getting a little bit funny, fuzzy feedback, or is that okay? Yeah, okay. Jackie. For one moment there, I thought I couldn't see Jackie's page and I had a little panic. So I'm just going to scroll down. So in Jackie's words, Jackie says that as an older student, she has continuing interest in the areas of memory and loss. For Jackie, it is the very core of human experience, how we process, recall, reframe, display, suppress, obliterate, and sometimes transcend our own experiences as individuals, families, groups, societies, and nations. Jackie's personal store of imagery stems from myth and prehistory. I'm just going to scroll down to some more pictures. Jackie's personal store of imagery stems from myth and prehistory, with a healthy measure repurposed from the ritual and visual experiences of a Catholic childhood. She enjoys the tactile encounters of using a variety of materials, including textile, clay, bronze, and found objects. So I think probably what Megan's performance will resonate, and also the materiality that Alan's been talking about and kind of the issues of that, the loss of that just now, I think we'll be sitting with Jackie. I can't see you, Jackie, but to chip in if you would like to say anything.
No, just kind of, you know, I'm very, very grateful to have the chance to. Are you hearing me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very grateful to have had the chance to go through the course, really. It's just, you know, I waited 60 years to do this stuff. So, you know, the importance is almost kind of mythological in proportion, really. So it you know, I'm just really glad to have had the opportunity and the space and the support to do it after a life doing other things. And it's incredible. It's been incredibly important to me.
Oh, amazing, Jackie. Thank you. And we're so glad we've had you. That's, I mean, yeah, thank you. That means a great deal. So I'm not going to start crying. Okay, I'm going to come away from Jackie. Well done. Alan, are you saying something?
I might start crying.
Oh, don't. Then I'll start, and then Colette will start, and then we'll all be greeting. And it'll be happiness, tears of happiness. Okay, thank you, Jackie. Now I am going to go to Paula Lopez Serrano. And Paula, I can't see you, but I know you're there, and I know you're there with Sakke and someone else. So I'll just click onto Paula's work, and I shall read from Paula's statement. Okay. Paula's recent work has been closely influenced by events that have happened throughout the course, including 2 major life events: the death of her father at the start of this academic year and the birth of her son, who came into this world just as the course was ending, only a few weeks ago. Paula states that the transformation of matter that we go through during life and before and after contains the same main elements as stardust, and the creation of life in Earth started thanks to those main elements. Paula describes this process as from dust to liquid, to gas to solid, to becoming dust again, gas and liquid and solid again. It is the cycle of life. It is a continuous transformation. Paula likes to explore with different medias, but feels particularly drawn to 3D processes and installation as a form to carry her expression. And I'm just going to scroll down, and we're going to watch a little film of Paula's. It's only 3 minutes long, but we're not going to watch it all just now. We're just going to watch it for a minute, and I'm going to go into full screen. I'm going to pause there. I don't really like to interrupt that, actually, because it was getting me in a nice relaxed zone, but I'm super aware that we are on a tight schedule. But as before, the work is here, the links are now available, and you can come back and visit Paula's work anytime. Paula, can you hear me okay? I can't see her. I just wanted to stop for a second with Paula and Sakke just to say, you know, obviously this has been an incredible journey for all of us, and we've had quite an extraordinary number of students who have been through some major times on the course, you know, but I think This is our first CAP baby. Am I right? Yeah, our first ever CAP baby.
Our
And
first
I think
on-CAP baby.
yeah, and I think Paula and Sakke said that his middle name is going to be Contemporary Art Practice, which is quite. I'm just breaking it here, guys. I'm breaking it here. Okay, so that's Paula. Thank you, Paula. Well done. Incredibly well done to do this and have a baba. And we are going to go on to Ryan next. And Ryan, I don't think is with us tonight. And I spelled his name wrong on the front page. So that's a wee imperfection there. Never mind. Sorry, Ryan, in your absence. So Ryan describes his work as usually exploring current situations that he sees himself and people around him facing, whether it be social or political. A lot of Ryan's work also connects with mental health from a personal point of view and public perceptions of mental health. Ryan would like to say, now I'm going to read this out actually. Ryan would like to say a massive thank you to all the lecturers and staff at the art department in Granton College. You guys are amazing. Now, I would like to say thanks to Ryan, but also we all know Ryan, everyone on the screen here, and he might have been trying to claw back into my good books after pushing the deadline of this website a little bit too far. Anyway, thank you, Ryan. And these are Ryan's works. I'm just scrolling down. So he specialises in painting and watercolour and acrylic. And he is also interested in photographic processes and makes films as well. And I'm just going to watch a wee snippet of one of them with you just now. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to pause Ryan there, and huge well done to Ryan in his absence. Okay, so our next artist in this final group of our final cluster is Charlene Scott, and I'm just going to click onto Charlene, and I think Charlene will empathise with me. You may have noticed I've had someone else join me for a minute, as is the hazard of this format and working at home. That's my daughter. Apologies, Charlene, but I know how the domestic setting is also kind of something that you have explored and is critical to what you do, so hope you don't mind. Okay, so aspects relating to nurturing, healing, and the environment are key themes that have presented themselves throughout Charlene's practice. The interweaving of logic and instinct, the known and the imaginary, mythology and folklore, as well as science, provided Charlene with endless source material. Charlene feels that her time at Edinburgh College has given her space to explore all of this, along with an experimental approach to a wide range of media. Charlene has become increasingly drawn to processes that are accessible, often including material from her domestic environment and surrounding landscape. These processes really excite her as they capture the physical environment, whilst the abstract gestures hint at symbolism that have been used for centuries as a way to explore human experience. And I'm going to play some of Charlene's film presence as well. So we'll click on there. I wonder what you're thinking. So, are you viewing another world right now? Is there no inner or outer, just one amalgamation, a non-separation? You're really stretched over the back of the sofa and gaze at the ceiling. Legs dangling without purpose. Stretch, a yawn, a contentment,
grounded within that moment. I wonder what you're thinking, if you're thinking at all. Are you viewing an inner world, or right now is there no inner or outer, just one amalgamation, a non-separation? Where there is no looking in and there is no looking out, there just is. The sunlight hits the wall, an acting boundary that captures line and shape, and your attention. Your eyes wait there as your body slides down, now half on the sofa, half on the floor, observing an upturned world. The dust is dancing in the sunlight, a microscopic world that dips in and out of view as the clouds play against the sun. Are you imagining what it feels like to float and be carried so effortlessly, with so much ease, so much trust, so much flow? Or are you simply held still in the hypnotic performance? I wonder what you're thinking, if you're thinking at all. Are you viewing an inner world, or right now is there no inner or outer, just one amalgamation, a non-separation? There is a softness in your eyes and in your body. Your being is as wide as the world, where everything is moving, yet nothing at all.
Okay, guys. Close that down. Okay, thank you, everyone in our last group. I just, I'm going to stop sharing the screen for a minute. I just want to see if Jen's here. Oh yeah, hi Jen. And Charlene, is Charlene here? Oh yeah, sorry, right next to me. I just wanted to mention another aspect to the course that has been in development and which, again, I've had very little to do with. I'm aware that, I just keep saying, Alan's done this, but really, Alan has done all of this. I've just been watching from the sideline. But Charlene has benefited from a new professional practice programme that was trialled this year, cut short because obviously of our circumstances. We're really lucky to have Jen Houston with us this evening as well. And Jen and Charlene have been working together. And I wondered if you would like to say a couple of words about the kind of work experience. Do you call it work experience, professional experience that you've been having working with the artist's book collection? I don't know if Jen, you would like to say a few words about the book collection, and maybe then Charlene, you could contribute as to what you've been up to as well.
Yes, of course. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good. So we have the A, B to Z collection, which is in the library at Edinburgh College. And it's a collection of artist books and zines and DIY and independent publishing by artists and not artists. It feels like a new collection. It's been 2 years growing. And this was the first year that I was approached and asked if we could write a placement, see if anybody was interested, and see how it went. So we did, and Charlene was interested, which was lucky for me, definitely. And again, we started in February, I think. So we had 3 weeks, Charlene, I'm not sure.
I think it was 3, maybe 4 maximum.
Yeah. And working on something that again, just talking about documenting history, just talking about very real and intimate encounters with kind of what people are going through and what's going on. The collection kind of encompasses that. So it was a real honour for me to have somebody contribute to that other than myself, and I think essential. And I'm just sorry that we couldn't have done more because Charlene was so engaged, so genuine, so invested, and had so much to contribute. She was really eager to be involved, and it would have been really valuable for me as well. So it's something I would like to keep doing, and hopefully we can. So
I think you made it really easy for me, Jen, actually, just to slip in and be so engaged, because you were so like given with information and also very trusting, because it is a really valuable collection, not in terms of money, but socially it's really valuable. So it was great that I was allowed to even like open up the parcels. That was one of my favourite parts. And all the new books coming in. And yeah, I was really, really devastated. It was cut short, but I think you might end up with me back at some point down the line so that I can finish that placement. Determined.
Yes, please.
Thanks, Jen, and thanks, Charlene. But yeah, I'd just like to reiterate, I think the zine collection is an amazing resource for us now, and an amazing teaching resource, and we're trying to fit that into the programme, so we're so lucky to have it. So can we give a round of applause to Paula, Ryan, Charlene and Jackie? Well done. Oh no. Okay. Sorry. I'm going to hand back to Alan now, and Alan's going to introduce our next guest.
Okay, thanks very much, Jenny, and to all the artists in that section, and to Jen and Charlene for talking a little bit about the placement. On the back of that, I'd just like to give a quick shout out to Falaraki's very own Lewis Bissett for the first zine. You know, the zine that started it all off. So Lewis was our artist in residence a while back and started off the zine thing at Edinburgh College, and that Jen has absolutely taken, run with, and produced an amazing resource. Thanks very much, Jen.
Alan, could I just jump in and say to Lewis that actually on the sheet for your zine it says this is the zine that started it all. So
so can you all hear me? Yeah. Before we move on to our next live performance, I do have another pre-recorded message to play out. I'd also like to thank everybody for their patience. It's quite clear that we're going to run over somewhat, and I really hope that everybody can stay with us on the live stream. We'll keep going until we're finished. I'm having a great time, and it's got nothing to do with this non-alcoholic wine that I'm drinking. I should also say that although I've got the mind of a 20-year-old and the body of a 50-year-old, I've got a bladder of a 110-year-old. So at some point during one of these things, I'm going to have to disappear. So I do have a brief message to play out from Laura Simpson, who is the director at Edinburgh Sculpture Workshop. And of course, they're as gutted as we are not to be at Edinburgh Sculpture Workshop doing our end of year show. So Laura very kindly has recorded a message for everybody. So I'm going to share that with you now, and then we're going to go to our next performance.
Hello, I'm Laura Simpson. I'm the director of Edinburgh Sculpture Workshop. We're a place where artists and many other people come to make and talk about art. We've got really strong connections with Edinburgh College, in particular the staff and students of contemporary art practice. The students come here to get to know us by doing projects throughout the year. And at this time of year, we're usually hosting the end of term exhibition, which is definitely a high point for us, which we're missing this year. And so pleased to be able to join you for the digital exhibition. I realise that this year is different, but this is going to be a time that we all look back on as a turning point, even more than usual, in which you go out into the world with your ideas and your skills to make a difference and find your next steps as artists. I look forward to welcoming you to ESW in the near future and would encourage you to keep up with the strong collective ways of working which you've established as a group whilst you've been studying together. That's already been an inspiration to me, and I know that it will be the way that you have motivation and encouragement to keep going. Best of luck from ESW and congratulations on your exhibition.
Okay, I think we're back now, and thank you to Laura for that fantastic message. I'm hoping that you're out there live watching us on YouTube, and thank you. Really, that's a wonderful contribution to the evening. I'm just double checking where we are, and what we're going to do now is I'm going to introduce our next contributor as soon as I can find that document. There it is. So you might notice that I keep looking this way, but it's not because there's something really interesting over there. It's because I've got two screens. As a dyslexic as adult, I need all the help I can get. So I have a second screen that I am going to read from. Okay. Our next contributor is Natasha Ruona, whose practice is research-based and investigates racialized spatialization via the process of writing, digital art, and performance. Natasha completed CAP in 2017 and graduated from Intermedia at Edinburgh College of Art this year. Since finishing CAP, Natasha began working as an assistant producer for movement research Clarissa Paranusa, and completed a curatorship for Africa in Motion Film Festival in 2019, and currently works as a curator for the Glasgow Short Film Festival. She is a project coordinator for the collective Undercovered, which is based at the University of Edinburgh, a student-led project researching into the global and imperial history of the university and how this relates to the current ways in which the institution works to oppress people of colour. Natasha recently became a committee member of Rubaba Gallery and Studios here in Edinburgh. The work performed tonight is a draft of a performance essay made for the upcoming Trading Zones exhibition at Talbot Rice Gallery. The essay is one part of her bigger project, Black Ecologies, Geographies and Spatial Practices, and features some of the research completed and reworked for the previous lecture. It mixes poetry and prose with academic writing to take water as a subject. Now, Natasha, I'm going to ask to unmute you, and I hope that we can do that. You're now unmuted.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can, and hopefully we can now see you properly also. So over to you.
Share my screen, if that's all right.
Yes, I can. If you just give me a second, I need to just and what I'll do is I shall make you co-host, and that should now allow you to share your screen.
Cheers. This is the beginnings of a lyrical and/or audio essay, with research sampled from the first iteration of a performance lecture, Afrofuturism and Spatial Practices. The aim of this work is to expand the current discourse on hydrofeminism through the lens of a Black feminist geography. Scholar Catherine McKittrick first put forth the latter as an exploration of the relationship between Black women and geography, visible through architecture, movement, and migration. Hydrofeminism, a concept derived from Astrida Nieamaz, speaks to the relationship that exists between humans and water, through our beginnings in amniotic fluids, journeys across or through the ocean, and to our futures impacted by the rising sea levels as a result of climate change. Through uncovering a more inclusive understanding of hydrofeminism in relation to Blackness, it broadens the potential of the concept for exploring these issues and lends itself to the study of Black feminist geography by creating a discourse focused on water within the field, furthering the work already achieved within Black Atlantic study. The Black Atlantic, a term first used by Paul Gilroy in 1993, has been developed into the study of African identities and cultures as they have formed across the Atlantic Ocean. The continent and the diaspora find their meeting point within the Atlantic Ocean to symbolize the old and new worlds that were created by the transatlantic slave trade. Beginnings, location, amniotic sac, the human body. A border of a protective liquid shapes the fetus within the womb, beginning a series of exchanges between bearer and baby. Release of said liquid. Our bodies then take the form of the water, 60 to 90%, that is contained within us, replenish, 6 to 8 glasses a day. Can humans breathe underwater? No one knows the mysteries at the bottom of the ocean is a chapter in the book, Black Geographies and the Politics of Place, written by Catherine McKittrick and Clyde Woods. The chapter discusses how the ocean prompts a geographic narrative that may not be readily visible on maps. This tension between maps and the unknown reconfigures knowledge, suggesting that places, experiences, histories, and people that no one knows do exist. I believe that this tension allows those of us who are left outside of the conventional narratives to investigate unknown and underexplored territories, sites as our own territory. Can humans breathe underwater? The sea's history, Black Atlantis, Drexia. Plato created the Atlantis, a fictional underwater world that claims to play host to a utopian society full of human advancement, situated within the Atlantic Ocean. This concept was evolved further into a Black Atlantis by the Detroit electro-duo Drexia. Taking its name from its creators, the underwater world of Drexia inhabits the ancestors of slaves. The Middle Passage forms part of the triangular trade during slavery, where Africans were forcibly taken onto boats to the Americas. Drexia's theory is that of pregnant slaves who were thrown overboard or jumped during the Middle Passage, then had their babies in the ocean who adapted to breathing underwater, creating an advanced underwater civilization. Drexia's fictional narrative is inspired by the real-life Zon massacre that occurred in 1781, where more than 130 slaves from the British ship the Zong were thrown overboard in a fraudulent insurance claim made for bodies turned cargo. Your childlike currency, wept tears, lost yet found in deep depths, became part of the ocean that it so often feared. The hold. Location. Floating, sinking, within the Atlantic Ocean and within the pages of my books, words, womb. The Middle Passage as birth canal takes the factory of the belly as its laborious space. Womb. Birthing, borning, producing, womb. Holding, on, held, sunken, lost, is the belly of the world. I too become the principal point of passage between the human and the non-human world. I too become a memory of the future. Christina Sharp reimagines the ship for her subject matter for the book In the Wake, On Blackness and Being. The ship's hold becomes a metaphor for its belly, its very own womb that births Black identity. The hold evolves into the prison, the institution, architectural repetition. Bodies of water floating, swimming, surviving, sinking. In Omazeki Natasha Tinsley's Queering the Black Atlantic text, water is used as a metaphor for the fluidity of blackness and queerness as they are intertwined together. Tinsley takes the slave ship hold as her setting to imagine Black bodies as being queer in a sense of connecting in ways that commodified flesh was never supposed to, loving your own kind when your kind was supposed to cease to exist, forging interpersonal connections that counteract imperial desires for Africans. The Atlantic Ocean is an instrument for connecting lost bodies, lost histories, forced or chosen migration, the transportation of goods and bodies, bodies that were and are defined as being goods, water spirits who await evocation. He sells seashells. Location, Dunbar, East Lothian, Scotland. Object found, cowrie shell. Encasing is smooth, yet marked with ridges. The shells swallow its secrets behind its teeth. Its size demands for a conscious handling. Cowries were a form of currency used amongst people within the global south. During the slave trade, Europeans took advantage of their high value as held by Africans and began trading cowries in exchange for slaves. A third to a quarter of the 6 million plus Africans taken to America were sold in exchange for the shells. The shell is recast into a symbol for human life as it becomes a form of commerce. 1 pound of cowries in exchange for every 13 pounds of human flesh. This repurposing of the cowrie shell, as with its resemblance to a vagina, mirrors the transactional and anatomical value of Black bodies as created by Europeans. The affinity between both the cowrie and the black body makes for a reading of hydrofeminism that situates the black existence as being very much a part of the sea, moving within the depths of the ocean and reappearing on dry surfaces as a reminder of its history. And how might these shells have found themselves on the beaches of Scottish coasts? Are there ghosts of the sea longing to communicate truths, to drift the sunken evils of Scotland's very own black history to the surface? The sea is the repository for all the crimes of empire, the hold of history, once held, placed, forgotten, sunken, lost. Scorpio, a water sign, drawn to the impossibilities of the ocean, location somewhere in the stars. I've fallen deeper into waters in my dreams of water, wherever that may mean, so I must too become a memory of the future.
Natasha, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. I think that it is absolutely impossible not to recognise the power and the prescience of your performance at this time, and I think that it really is important for us all to be thinking about these things. In terms of, I mean, I think I've probably got a little bit more to say about that, but I'd like to ask you about your take on the performance you've just made, and where it, in so many ways it's clear where it comes from, but maybe you could say a little bit more about your feelings on that.
I guess maybe I could talk about the bigger, wider project that's kind of had different versions of looking at land and like the environment and historic sites in Scotland, like Arthur's Seat is like a site of resistance, and reimagining that for Afrofuturism. I think that comes into it all quite a lot, is this kind of reimagining and using sci-fi and what is possible, and sci-fi's relationship to the past as it is present, and also the future as it is present, and also other worlds where gods exist and underwater spirits. A lot of mythology, I think.
Yeah, there's a great sense of that mythology coming through. You said in the piece I read out in terms of your introduction, you talked about this being a draft of a larger piece. How are people going to be able to tap in, the audience tonight? Where are they going to be able to see that coming to kind of? I mean, it didn't sound like a draft to me. But as you kind of bring this to a kind of sense of completion, where is that going to be placed?
So I think for me, it's a draft because there's still different areas that I need to explore within it, and it was very much like put together, not quickly, but not in the way I kind of wanted to. But adding sound, I think maybe a film to go along with it. But mostly I'm interested in like making sound, and it will be in the Trading Zone exhibition at Talbot Rice whenever that starts.
Whenever that happens.
Yeah.
I think the water, watching the image of the water as you were speaking about that, and it was so powerful in terms of what we've just been learning about the Colston statue, the 19,000 extradited, stolen lives from West Africa who were, tipped overboard in the Atlantic, and then seeing the statue itself poured into the same sea. I think it's a really crucial moment, and what you've just presented is a really crucial thing, I think. And I hope that my colleagues don't mind me, Colette and Jennie, don't mind me saying so, that something that we have talked about in the last little while. Jennie was really very kind earlier on in talking about all this stuff that I'm doing, but I think from my perspective and Colette's perspective, I think we really, really need to acknowledge the work that Jennie's been doing in the contextual side of the course, just all the time, but certainly in the last 2 or 3 years, there's been a real reflection on what art history is and what it includes and what it doesn't include. And I think Jennie's done an incredible job trying to take account of that. I think it would be fair to say that we reached an agreement. Well, there was no discussion, there was no disagreement, really, that we need to commit to a fuller curriculum that really does take into account the real art history and not just the Western art history that we're presented with all the time. So I thank you very much for making that performance at this time.
No worries, and thanks for having me.
Thank you. Jennie, I think a round of applause is...
Yeah, I just unmuted myself. I've been desperate to applaud Natasha, so I'm going for it. I'm going for it now. Oh, it didn't work. Hold on. Oh, maybe that was an... Yeah, thank you so much. Very moving. And when you were talking, I had a slight interruption again. I'm aware I'm not like fully engaged because I'm aware of other stuff going off. But have I frozen again? No. Can you hear me okay?
Keep going.
It says my connection is unstable, which is about right. I just wanted to say, yeah, and I look forward to working with you at Rubaba. I'm really...
This was just part of an experiment. Put some pictures up online.
Oh, did you hear me? Or was I just over?
You said you were looking forward to working at Rubaba we got that.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, that was it. And then my YouTube account just kept playing. So apologies about that. Oh, great. Yeah, thanks, Alan. I think that we're doing all right on the course. I think we can always do loads more. I'm interested to really develop that conversation. I wanted to mention the resources that our guests have provided us with tonight. I think they provide an amazing context for what not only their own areas of research, but in terms of where we are with contemporary art and research now. So thank you, and I look forward to exploring them more. I am going to move on and talk about our next three artists, and I'm going to share my screen again. I'm super aware that the internet connection is not brilliant, so somebody interrupt if this is not going so well. Otherwise, I'll just keep going. Okay, hold on a second, actually. Okay, here we are. So our next three artists are Izabela, Konowalczyk. Izabela, I'm sorry. Isa, I'm sorry. Again, I'm trying. I'm a bit nervous. So apologies if I got your last name incorrect. Rachel Watson and Anna Brodie. So Izabela, I'm just going to click on to Isa's site just now. And I'm going to scroll down. There's Isa. And I'm just going to stop on this painting while I read. So Isa describes her work as eclectic. She works in both an abstract and figurative way, but abstraction is a more dominant force within her work. Isa likes to explore shapes, colours, line and texture, and her themes evolve around personal interpretation of the visible and the imagined. She translates her emotions through encounter with form and colour, and having started painting from a very early stage in her life, she also experimented with different medias on the course: sculpture, photography, video work, illustration, and design. However, she feels most at home with abstract painting. Her paintings are mostly acrylic, but likes to create collage using paper, plaster, and found objects. Really interested in light and colour and how light resonates, so really rooted in a kind of, I suppose, a kind of within a history of abstract expressionism. Well done, Isa. I think that your paintings are amazing in the flesh, and of course we don't get a sense of that, and we should acknowledge that for all of our artists tonight, that what we're looking at is a reproduction, and the students are probably sick of talking about reproduction and impersonations and imitations and what's reality and what's truth and all the rest of it. But yes, these are reproductions where you get a sense of how strong his work is. When we do get an opportunity, we'll see it in the flesh. I have to hold on for a second. My daughter is shouting in the background and it's really distracting me. I'll be back in 2 seconds, but I'll leave you looking at this beautiful work. Hey, never work with kids and animals. Somebody had to say it. Right, okay. I'm going to now go and have a look at Rachel's work. Rachel Watson. And here we are. And Rachel, I spent ages asking her to send a link for a film, and then unfortunately, she was very good and very obliging, and then unfortunately, for some reason, I can't embed it on the website. So this link here to tie the knot, you can follow that yourselves at some point and watch the film. What we're looking at is a series of stills from one of Rachel's films, and I'll just read a little bit about Rachel now. So over the course of Rachel's 2 years on CAP, she has explored a myriad of processes and has found herself taking on a multidisciplinary practice, ranging from collage to video works. The most recent project she was working on had led her to exploring women's place in society and the pressures that women are still exposed to today. Using her own body within her practice is something that Rachel came to in her second year, and she sees it as having helped her produce more personal work and is something she plans to continue working with in the future. And I'm just going to scroll down. We can have a look at some of Rachel's drawings here as well. Okay, and then finally in our last group of 3, well done Rachel, and well done Isa, I don't know if I said that, really well done. We're going to look at Anna Brodie's work, and Anna knows that we were right up until the last minute today trying to get images that worked. So there's a film here, and I'm going to press play and let that play above. Okay. So Anna aims to create accessible and engaging. Actually, that's not going to work. I'm going to pause it and I'll put it on afterwards. Anna aims to create accessible and engaging art that forms a conversation for others to take part in. Anna feels that her time studying at college has helped her learn this successfully. Anna enjoys many themes, however, they all in some way involve examining people and society. Some of her most recent work has explored ideas linked to contemporary consumer culture, bringing attention to everyday aspects of the natural world and capturing a feeling of community. Anna currently works within a variety of mediums, choosing whichever lends itself to the concept that she's working with at that time in the best way. Though she does recognise that at the moment she seems to be leaning more towards 2D methods of working. I'll just go back up and we'll watch, continue watching a bit of that community film. Okay, I'm going to pause that there. Well done, Anna. Well done to our 3 artists that we've looked at. So that was Isa, Rachel, and Anna. And I can't have a round of applause because I don't know where it's gone. Have you got yours there, Alan? You need to unmute. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I do. Here we go.
Oh, brilliant. Good. Thank you. And I'll just say back to Alan for our next guest. Back to Luxembourg for Kerry Wogan.
Okay. Thank you, Norway. Apologies for the nil point. Actually, before we go any further, we forgot something, Jennie.
Oh, have I? That's not odd. That's surprising.
Oh, given the start we had. Yeah. So this is our little tribute to last year. We were meant to wear this. Wait now, I'll pass it on. I'll just
All right.
I'll pass this on because we were meant to just only talk when we were wearing the cap, the talking cap. So last year's graduations, thank you very much. We still have them. Okay, but I'm going to pass it. Hang on, I'm going to have to wait and see where Jennie is on the screen first.
I'm here.
Are you? Oh, you're down there, right? So catch.
Thanks.
And later on, we'll be passing that on to Colette. Ben,
Yeah.
that's funnier than you're giving credit for.
No, nobody seems to find that funny apart from us three. So we'll just enjoy that.
We had such fun earlier on doing that all afternoon. Anyway, so
we'll carry on regardless.
We'll carry on. So next up, we're going to move to Samantha. Samantha Dick, who Samantha, you are here. I'm going to unmute you. I'm going to ask you to unmute. And then when you speak, you'll kick the screen, hopefully.
Hello.
Oh, there you are. Hi, Samantha. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, all right.
Not taking up screen.
I think. Oh, are you not there? Yeah.
I'm here.
You're maybe not transferring onto YouTube quite yet. So Samantha was our artist in residence from last summer until the end of January this year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to find my bit of paper, my virtual bit of paper, which is here, and I'm going to read out a little bit. Do you know what? I've just realised I can put it here on the screen and I can make it look like I'm talking to you rather than reading. So, Samantha Dick is a multidisciplined artist based between Glasgow and Edinburgh. I think you're in Edinburgh at the moment, are you?
Yeah, I'm back at home just now with my mum and my brother.
Back in the arms of the family at the moment. So, graduating from CAP in 2014, and then from Sculpture and Environmental Art in Glasgow School of Art in 2019. More recently, they were the CAP artist in residence before staying on, and is currently a learning assistant with us in the Department of Fine Art and Design at Edinburgh College. The basis of Samantha's practice is the rejection of social expectation. How can one best dismantle the social and psychological constraints placed upon the body by an oppressive society? Through the use of theoretical play, the artist encourages the viewer to disrupt their own impressions of normality, challenging gender norms, addressing power relations and conformity, whilst disrupting the rooted idealism of civilization. Samantha constantly draws us back to their interest in the other and its conflicting relationships with societal normality. How can the other gain dominance, and subsequently, how might we dismantle the dominant? So we're going to screen some of Samantha's video works or recorded performances. And I do remember us having a really interesting debate, Samantha, but more than one in the studio, I think would be fair to say.
Yeah, definitely.
I have to say I got a huge amount, from our discussions in the office / air studio. And I think I really appreciate how open and honest you were in those debates, and how accommodating of my questions and my, I don't know, doubts or ignorance. Thanks, Colette, just called me ignorant. Probably quite right. I really thank you for that. We're going to look at some of your desk studies just now.
It's just one performance.
Just one, sorry. So today we are showcasing a pre-recorded performance. That's right. From your series of entitled desk studies, a series of works made during your time as artist in residence and part of your solo show at HubCap. The desk studies are a series of webcam performances staged behind the desk and conducted by the artist's or your alter ego, Mr. Suit. Through the use of characterization, you chose to live within a stereotype in order to subvert the social rule. The desk studies act as a reaction to our current social political climate through the variety of repetitive acts or games of endurance. You've explored ideas of banality and absurdity to ultimately question the structures of our complex contemporary world. So, I'm going to get Mr. Suit up on my screen over here. And I'm going to share the screen. And then once we've had a watch, I'm going to come back to you and ask you a couple of questions. Okay, Sam?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alan, I think the volume needs to go up. Can you hear me?
Alan, you need to unmute yourself.
Thank you so much for that. My immediate response to that, I don't know if you like this or not.
Is it too long?
I love this. I love that piece. And there's a number of reasons I love that piece. And one of them is because I think we've all been in a meeting like that. But I think anybody that I've spoken to for any length of time about how I find it difficult about the difficulty in terms of concentration, and I really love artworks that make me engage with them and make me think about them, and I'm kind of forced into that situation. And I think that this does that. It's I think it's a really great work, and it conjures up so much of our kind of contemporary existence in terms of meetings, Zoom meetings, politics, clowns. I think that those works that you made for the show in Hubcap will have a lasting, they're a kind of lasting document of our current situation, which is I really love about them. So, would you like to say anything about the works and working with Hubcap?
Yeah, I mean, so I decided I hadn't really made a lot of work during like the kind of residency until the end when I was like prepping for the show. So I wanted to kind of look at the kind of tense political discourse that was happening during it, and that was when Brexit was just about to be be signed off, whatever it is. So I did like 31 performances over the course of January, with it ending on the 31st, which was the day that we essentially left the UK. And that one that you just seen there was the first performance that I ever did. But yeah, it was a really interesting experience. I loved working with Hubcap. The guys on the committee were really helpful and really willing to engage with me as an artist. And yeah, I don't think it would have been as good as the show it was without them.
Great. And how does it feel making the transition from student on CAP to artist in residence, and now you're a member of staff in the Edinburgh College? How does that feel?
Obviously, I don't want to leave. just trying to make my bed there. No, it's really good. Edinburgh College has a lasting impact on me. Being a student there opened me up to so many opportunities and allowed me to kind of question my own surroundings and have a voice within that. And I'm really appreciative of that. And coming back and doing the artist in residence, basically laid the foundations for what I want to do in the future, and having the experience with the students and the staff. And yeah, I'm really, really thankful. And I think every CAP or ex-CAPer will agree that CAP is fundamental to their practice and their personal lives as well. So.
Oh, thank you very much for that. And I should just say, I haven't, Jennie, Colette and I haven't just set up this whole scenario for everybody to just tell us how wonderful we are, but it's lovely to hear. We certainly do hope that people get something from what happens on CAP and what you do for each other. And I think that you shouldn't underestimate what you all do for each other as colleagues and students, even when you're not getting on. Anyway, I'm going to move on quickly because we are way over time now. So thank you very much, Sam. And Jennie's lost her round of applause, so I need to very quickly find your Thank you, Samantha. We'll see you again very soon.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.
So, Jennie.
Okay, so we are now going to our last three artists, and thank you for your patience, everyone. I don't think we're doing too badly considering we had a wee bit of a struggle at the start. Julia Smolinska's not here, but Astrid and Reuben are here, and thank you guys for being so patient. I am going to share the screen. I'm just laughing because of my slowness with technology, and I've just remembered somebody from last year telling me that I didn't need to Google if I wanted Google to open because I was already in Google. Really annoying, but okay, anyway, Astrid Betts, here we are. So I'm going to go down and hover over a slideshow just now, and then we're going to go up and watch Astrid's film. So Astrid tends to work in a conceptual manner, working primarily using 3D processes, including installation, sculpture, and video. Astrid often uses herself as the subject and has been greatly inspired by the cinema of transgression. Astrid often tackles difficult and personal themes, and the film that we will now watch was made in response to the notion of the last breath. And actually this came about, correct me Astrid if I'm wrong, but I think it came about when working with Sam as well. I think we've said it a couple of times, but I think the role of our artists in residence and how they can work with students in a way that Alan and Colette and I can is really critical. And actually the experience that the artists in residence bring is really crucial to how we are as a course. And I think Sam did some really, well, I know Sam did some really amazing work with the students, which culminated in an exhibition and performance night at North Edinburgh Arts, in which Astrid showed this work. And I think it was the development of this work was critical to Sam's influence. So thank you. But I just want to say, and Astrid and I have we have spoken with Astrid about how, and obviously we talk about this on the course, how artworks change in time and place and in context. And the film that we're now going to watch was made in response to the notion of the last breath. And subsequent to making this work, we've discussed how the meaning of art is never fixed and interpretation moves and responds dependent on time and context. And I don't think I need to say any more under our current societal position. So I'm just going to press play and I'm going to go full screen. I'm going to watch this in a couple of minutes. I'm just going to pause here. So lots to think about. Well done, Astrid, and thank you for your contributions. We're going to now go to Julia. Julia unfortunately can't be with us tonight, so we're celebrating in her absence. Let's go into Julia's page. So Julia's practice has involved working with everyday materials and her own body in performative and sculpture-based work to explore how we visually process everyday issues. Julia aims to focus on how a feeling can be conveyed through a specific action or visual stimuli. She is interested in creating expressive works that are stimulating to the audience, emotionally, mentally, and visually. I'm going to roll down a bit. Julia finds inspiration from working with a range of media, including found materials. She aims for her work to draw attention to the connections between everything, us and art. So big well done to Julia in her absence. And then we're coming to our last graduate of 2020. And I just want to thank everyone again for coming with us this evening on this technological adventure. And what I haven't mentioned, and I don't know if Alan did, is about, and I just will say briefly, about how, you know, we're obviously sad to be saying goodbye to people, but we're also super aware that this is the start of another journey for lots of folk. And we have our students going to Edinburgh College of Art, Glasgow School of Art, Dundee, to study both fine art and philosophy. And our next student, Reuben, is going to London. So Reuben will be studying at Camberwell come September. Reuben, are you still here?
Yep, we are.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. And thanks for being so patient and going last. Somebody has to go last.
Of course.
But by no means least. Okay, so I'm going to click on Reuben's page and I'm going to read from Reuben's words, and we're going to have a look at his work. Okay, so Reuben believes that artworks can hold a far greater depth of expression by applying a range of forms, both representational and abstract. Reuben's current understanding is that different theories of art, including those connected to representation, expression and form, have crossovers and have potential to exist simultaneously. He believes that using a symphony of harmonic painting techniques, abstract to imitation, creates a massive expression, providing a rich aesthetic, a synergy of visual languages accessible to everyone. Reuben hopes that this allows for a universally appreciated expression. And there's Ryan in that picture, actually, in his absence, and there he is here. I'm going to scroll down, and we're just going to hover here while we finish off looking at work. You may notice that Reuben has sold some of his work, but there is still some works for sale. So if you're interested in these beautiful paintings, you know where to go. Okay, I'm going to come off of here and I'm going to hover here. And Alan, I'm going to pass back to you. I think I'm finished for this evening.
I think that in terms of your formal contribution, Jennie, yes, you're finished. But I fully expect informal interjections until the bitter end.
Don't encourage me. I've been quite well behaved.
So far. The next section we have...
Sorry, we didn't have a round of applause for our last three. They need a big round of applause. Yay!
The animation on my screen when it claps is very polite. It's very tap, 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 tap. Anyway, our next contribution will be from Colette. Colette is obviously a colleague in CAP who predominantly teaches on CAP 1. This year has done some CAP 2 work. Knows this group both from first year and from second year this year. So we're delighted that Colette has agreed to speak tonight and to carry out a very specific role. But Jennie, I think you have to pass on an item of headgear.
You know what? I think my daughter's taken it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, I've got it. Colette, where are you? Right, I'm here. Okay, it's coming down to you now. Oh. Bit further away than I thought. There we go. Oh, that's brilliant. Should we do it again? Just a bit more till.
Right. Can you take? Yeah. Okay. Alan has muted himself, so we don't have that horrible echo.
Well, I'm not here. I didn't throw that yet.
Alan, horrible.
So, hello everybody. I have got the wonderful task. I'm going to take the cap off now. The wonderful task of announcing the prize winner tonight. As Alan said, I teach mainly on first year, and I had the pleasure of coming in and helping out a bit on second year as well this year, which has been fantastic. I also teach on a couple of the non-advanced courses, the UEL courses. And of course, I met so many of you on the non-advanced courses before you progressed on to HND. And for me, that's a great privilege to be able to kind of observe that journey and to kind of see you all arrive at where you are tonight. So thank you. A truly humbling experience, kind of seeing that journey. Yeah, I'm going to be announcing the prize winner. This was not an easy decision to arrive at, because you really have been a tremendous year, and you have overcome some incredible challenges, a lot of personal challenges along the way this year as well, as Jennie mentioned earlier. So it just made the decision incredibly difficult. But I kind of salute every single one of you, because you have been tremendous. And also I wanted to bring attention to, Alan, can you pass the this little artwork we have here, made by an ex-student, and when she graduated, and I don't know if you can read that on the front there, it says Triumph, and she made that just as she graduated from HND CAP. So Subi Coleman, if you're out there, hello, and thank you for this artwork. It still takes a great position within the house, but yeah, Triumph, it's that's exactly what it is. That's where you've all arrived at tonight, so well done. And yeah, so she made that just as she graduated from HND and went off to Glasgow School of Art. So what a triumph for you all. So tonight's prize winner, we don't have a physical prize to hand over, but someone will be in touch, Julie, with you about the prize. And the prize winner is Charlene Scott. So well done. Round of applause, please. So well done, tremendous, but absolutely. Absolutely, we'll drink to that. So, but congratulations to all of you, really tremendous, and for bringing together the website in such a short space of time with all your amazing work. Well done.
Thank you so much. I think on behalf of everybody that has done the course, I mean, you have just been so fantastic, and it wouldn't have been the same without yous and the support and the encouragement that you give, and you just go beyond, above and beyond anything, and we've all just grown so much. And I know I say that on behalf of everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Charlene. It's been a indeed. Can I do what the kids do just for a moment? Thank you so much, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure, as every year, even when you're incredibly irritating and pushy and want stuff and need stuff. Is no matter what, it's a pleasure. We get so much from working with you and working with all your predecessors, and we look forward to working with new cappers in the coming year, albeit in a very, very different way, to say the least.
Alan?
Yes?
Could we just, I don't know if I've missed this, but could we just say a bit of a thanks to the other folk who are here? You can do that if you like.
Yeah, I was just coming to that, but...
Oh, sorry. So you know how impatient I am. Hurry up.
I also obviously want to thank not just the artists from CAP, but everybody who contributes to the course. We invited all those people who've had an impact. That we certainly feel have had an impact on what we do and what happens for the students. So thank you very much to Kirsty Byrne, who now no longer works with us, but had a massive impact in first year with this group, with our printmaking workshops. So thank you very much, Kirsty Byrne. To Jen Ferns, our former head LA and former CAP student, who now is a lecturer along with us, but thank you for everything that you've done, Jen, when these guys were in first year. Rosie, who stepped so wonderfully into Jen's shoes and has done a fantastic job coping with all our wants and needs. And your tolerance levels have been exceptional. So thank you, Rosie. Thank you to folk who can't be here at the moment. Neil Nodzak, who's been an incredible support in the learning technology area of the college, helping with WordPress, and certainly helping us as lecturers from the back to provide the digital support. Thank you to Dave McLaughlin and everybody at the library, Jen Usen, for the fantastic support we get there. We have an extraordinary support structure around us, and provided by the Learning Resource Centre, by far the best in the country in terms of contemporary art practice. Natalie Doyle, another former CAP student, front and centre, right in front of my screen, right there. Nat, you've been incredible with your digital support as well. I think several works would not have been made this year had it not been for you and your support with the digital stuff. Sam, obviously, as artist in residence. Shireen as artist in residence. All the people who contribute in terms of the talks. People like Rachel Simpson at Embassy, or formerly of Embassy, who's been a fantastic support. All of our artists. There's too many to mention. The community makes this work. The extended CAP community makes this whole thing work, and we couldn't do it without any of you. And we hope that all the people on the screen now will continue to be part of that community and help support future years through your contributions. So thank you so much. If I've missed anybody, Jennie, Colette, come and tell me. If not, massive round of applause to everybody. Thank you so much. And obviously thank you to all the contributors tonight who have been fabulous. But we have one more. We have one more contribution to be made. And we don't care if the sound isn't brilliant. We've had some issues with sound this evening and various technical glitches. But regardless of that, Faliraki are absolutely tremendous. They are on the button. They know what they're doing. They know what they're saying. They know why they're saying it. And we're so proud to be associated with them through Lewis. But Jamie, Jamie's part of it. Jamie's us now. He didn't study with us, but he's us now. There's no two ways about it. So I'm going to hand over, and I'm not going to come back. We're going to listen to Faliraki. They're going to play us out. Please stay. Please listen. Put some comments in the live stream box. Folk that are in the meeting now, stay in the meeting. Watch the Faliraki, and if you want, I'm going to get another glass of wine. I had to stop about half an hour ago because you might have noticed I was getting a bit slurry. So I'm going to get the wine back in and stay on. We can have a chat after if you want to stay. But thank you so much. And Lewis, get unmuted and see us out. Here we go.
We're filming on a Nokia 3210. I'm not going to do anything, so that's a half the quality shit. That's all, stop, we are, stop. We'll get one that I saw play for it. It's a fan favourite. It's called Pogo Dog.
Okay.
It's the post-punk prophets of Donaldson. What are you saying, Lewis Bissett? You'll have to take yourself off mute because we can't hear you.
I'm saying it's past my bedtime. I was telling I was on the 1:45.
Yeah, well, that's the rock and roll life, my man.
Mary's going to hear a word when I get home. I missed a hot chocolate.
Lewis, Jamie.
Is the sound all right?
Sounded all right to me, but I've had the best part of a bottle of wine.
We didn't get any better. Well, we didn't get any better than that. So.
Thank you so much, sir, and thank you, Jamie. Thank you for the patience. We're looking forward to seeing you rock the world.
Hey, check it quickly too. We're on Spotify and TikTok.
I've put TikTok's too cool for me.
Well, that's it. Youngins like TikTok.
I've put the links up to Spotify. And I hope everybody's going to link in. Yeah, get spending. Get
that money. Get us that nice street money.
Get another 59 pence in these guys' pockets.
Oh, I think we've
I'm going to finish the live part, the YouTube, but hang about, Lewis, if you want, if you can.
I just say hi to Annie because Annie's arrived.
Is she in?
Hey, yeah. Here.
Annie, unmute yourself and say hello to the world.
Oh, she's gone. She's feeling shy.
There's Annie.
Hey, hi, Annie.
That's probably the best from
How was it?
Right, I'm going to end the stream now, so everybody say bye-bye to the audience.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, there's Shona. Hi, Shona. Right, hopefully nothing else we say from